the origination. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Okay, refuge in Bodhicitta. Refuge in Bodhicitta. Which page is that?
Page 4.
Page 4. I go for refuge and tell my Latin to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, by my accumulations through practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and tell my Latin to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, by my accumulations through practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and tell my Latin to the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, by my accumulations through practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Okay, where did we leave this, the first session? What point?
Page 5, middle of the page.
Page 5, middle of the page, or anybody who can precisely tell me where we left?
The mantra of perfect wisdom. The mantra of perfection of wisdom.
Oh, just we recited. No, this is a separate thing. The discussion, the class.
Self-grasping and self-centered. Self-grasping and self-centered attitude. Those two qualities of internal practice.
Anybody?
The wheel of life?
Huh?
The wheel of life?
No. Yes. So this is one disease that I have. My disease is to ask you where we left last time. You should be very precise. If you're not precise, then I cannot go further, because I will not remember.
What was the answer? What was the answer?
Answer was that your name? Emilia. What Emilia said, Nagarjuna's fundamental wisdom of the middle way, the text, where he said, ceasing of karmas and afflictions leads to nirvana. Afflictions, the karmas and afflictions arise from conceptual thought, and the conceptual thought in turn arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, and self-grasping ignorance ceases through the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, it should be somewhere in this text. Anybody who can identify that? As page 320, and it is in many places. The same stanza which I read is in many, at least 3 times you will find it there. Anybody?
Page
Page 2, yes. This is one. There are many. There are three. At least 3 times it will come. Yes, they are. Okay, I'm looking for the one from the Aranigarjuna's actual text. 320. What is that? Is that from the compilation? Compendium? That is the. It just cited. It was extracted. Actually, we have to go to the actual text. 113. Okay, let's see 113 is the beginning of the. Okay, so I want to see where the text is. Which stanza number? Stanza 5? Huh? What? Maria, would you?
116 stanza 5. Yeah.
Oh, 116 stanza 5. Okay. Stanza 5. Now, which chapter is that? Chapter 18. Good. Yeah, chapter 18. Stanza page 116, stanza 5. Yes? Okay. So it reads, ceasing of common afflictions leads to nirvana. Common afflictions arise from conceptual thought. These arise from mental elaboration of grasping to existence. Elaboration ceases by or into emptiness. This is the stanza. So can anyone identify or help me as to in what relation I cited this text? I cited this stanza. In what relation I cited this stanza? Yes, Thomas?
Self-grasping, ignorance.
Yes. When I say yes, don't try it and don't believe in it. Only when I say yes, then you believe, trust me.
I think it's related to internal factors, the 2 main internal factors.
Yes, which means correct.
The root causes for suffering.
It is not wrong, it's correct, but in a very specific context. Zarina? Summarize what? The causes. Yes. Okay, so what I said is that ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum desham tathagato hyavatat. What the causes of the suffering are, is identified by the Tathagata. Right? What are the causes of suffering? Then I said Aranigarjuna summarized all what the Buddha taught in terms of what the causes of suffering are in this stanza. Okay, so we are identifying the cause of suffering. Now we are tackling the cause of suffering from various angles in the form of the sound of clap, internal factors, external factors, then the Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava, then the Aranigarjuna stanza. Okay, Aranigarjuna stanza. So this is very important. Okay, let's say that. Okay, let's say that. How many of you in your life you had dreams? Raise hands. Okay, good. Then in your dreams you become emotional. Raise your hands. Angry, happy, whatever. Okay, good. Imagine that you are fast asleep and you are dreaming. You are fast asleep and you are dreaming. I'm trying to explain the 5 points. What are the 5 points? The 5 points I'm going to explain. Okay, the text reads, ceasing of karmas and afflictions leads to nirvana. What's the opposite of nirvana? What is the opposite of nirvana? Samsara. Very good. Okay. By the way, there should be somebody who should remind me exactly what does it mean by, what exactly does it mean by samsara. Somebody, okay, Thomas will remind me. Huh?
Wandering. Samsara means in Sanskrit.
No.
What is exact translation?
Thomas, listen to what I'm saying. I'm not asking what is samsara. This is my question. What is my question?
What means samsara?
No, I didn't say this.
Reminds you.
It's ignorant existence.
No, somebody should volunteer to remind me what exactly is samsara. You're getting it? Samsara has many connotations. Binding, suffering, so many connotations. There's a very precise understanding. If you know this, then you are so happy because I precisely understand what samsara is. Because you know so precisely, you will know how to get into samsara very precisely.
Fear and suffering.
I didn't ask a question.
I was thinking separate self.
No, this is not my question. What is my question?
Samsara is nirvana.
This is not my question. What is my question? What happened to the Finnish people? You don't have ears. You should have ears. Ears' job is to listen, listen precisely. Huh?
Someone should remind you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. I didn't ask what is samsara. If I ask what is samsara, you can give you answers. Somebody should remind me. Right? I know you have many answers. But I want somebody to remind precisely what samsara is. And later on, when I explain or when we come to deduce what samsara is, and if your answer is same, you're amazing, you're very smart. Whereas, if the answer is not same, then there are so many things we're learning. You're getting it? Okay, so with this, the question is, okay, so it says, ceasing of karmas and afflictions leads to nirvana. 5 points. 5 points. First point is, what's the opposite of nirvana? Samsara. Okay, point number 1 is samsara. Samsara is in the form of a resultant state. Resultant state. Okay, in simple terms, bondage. In simple terms, suffering. In simple terms, unhappiness, so forth. Okay. Still, the very precise definition, very precise understanding we have to learn later on. Samsara. That's a resultant state. In a loose sense, we know what samsara is. In a loose sense. But what we should know is how this samsara, and they should be gotten rid of. For that matter, you have to identify the cause so well. So what are the causes of samsara? This is the point. If you don't identify the cause of suffering, cause of samsara, then there's no way by which you can get rid of samsara. Do you follow me? Good. Once there is a very respected professor, very senior professor. He invited me to stay with him for about 5 days in his house. And once his wife, 3 of us, we were having a meal together. And then meanwhile, he had a lot of questions. His wife also had several questions. And then his wife was asking about, they were taking care of many stray dogs. She was worrying about the stray dogs. I give some, the tips, how to think. And then I said, okay, next life and so forth. The moment I said the next life and so forth, the lady said that, no, I don't want to come back to samsara anymore. She said, I'm fed up with samsara. Oh yeah, how many of you are fed up with samsara? Raise hands. Right? So what is your approach? Oh, I don't want to come to samsara anymore. Don't talk about it. I will not come to samsara anymore. I'm fed up. It's amazing. If you're fed up with samsara and then you have the freedom to choose not to come to samsara, it's amazing. But if the causes are there, invariably we have to come. Invariably we have to come. So we have to, if you really don't want to be in samsara, we have to identify what the causes of samsara are. And then we have to learn how to get rid of these causes. Without knowing what are the causes of samsara, and you just say fed up with this and I'll not come. This is so unwise. So we have to identify what the causes of samsara are. Okay, so this stanza will help us precisely how to identify the cause of suffering. Okay, so ceasing of karmas and afflictions leads to nirvana. Obviously, nirvana is samsara, number one. This is the resultant state. Now, the remaining 4 points are the causal factors. It says ceasing meaning stopping. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions leads to nirvana, karmas and afflictions. So, immediate cause of suffering, immediate cause of samsara is the contaminated karmas, number one. Immediate cause of the samsara is contaminated karmas, number one. And the immediate cause of contaminated karmas is afflictions, number two. Immediate cause of, afflictions here referring to the gross afflictions. Afflictions there are two, gross and subtle, gross afflictions. And the immediate cause of the gross afflictions is inappropriate attention. Inappropriate attention. Inappropriate attention. I know you want to ask what is inappropriate attention. Don't worry. Immediate cause of the inappropriate attention is elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. We have to know these 5 points. What's number one? Of the 5. Samsara. Okay, what is the immediate cause of samsara? Contaminated karmas. Very good. What is the immediate cause of contaminated karmas? Of gross afflictions. What is the immediate cause of gross afflictions? Inappropriate attention. And what is the immediate cause of inappropriate attention? Elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. Very good. Self-grasping ignorance or the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance is just same. So, if you know this, the connectedness of these 5, how these 5 points are linked, then you will understand this stanza. And to know this stanza very precisely, we have to know it through an example. So I'm giving you an example. Let's say that, okay, Maria, you can give me a mobile? Yes. Okay, let's say that it is 13th of July. 13th of July, you reached this place. Did you reach this place on 13th July? When was that? 13th of July, when was that? Yesterday. Okay. So then you went to bed. Yes? Okay, so you had a dream. In the dream, you are having a class. In the dream you are having class. And suddenly this person picked up something. You are dreaming. What is this? It's a dream mobile. You are dreaming. And this is a dream mobile. Okay. Then you look at it very clearly. What? In the middle of the teaching, he picked up a mobile. What is this mobile? He looked at it. You looked at it very carefully. You see that this mobile, iPhone X, brand new iPhone X. Then what happens? Wow, he's a monk. He will not keep iPhone X, right? If I ask him to exchange my mobile, like 50 euros mobile with his mobile, he may change it. Geshe, would you mind exchanging my mobile with yours? Then your friend says, no, I said it before. This morning I told him. Then two of you will have fist fight. Then the siren police car comes and take you to prison. Okay, tell me. And prison is not a good place. Prison is samsara. Prison samsara. Why you end up in prison? And then your mother comes. In the prison, your mother comes. What happened? You went to Bodhicitta retreat. You're a very nice boy, you're a very nice girl. Why you end up in prison? You went to Bodhicitta retreat, not prison. Why did you end up in prison? Then what do you say, what's the cause, immediate cause of prison? Hey, tell me, what's the immediate cause of the prison? Crime. Crime, which crime? Fist fight. Fist fight, right? Fist fight is the contaminated karma action. So the prison is samsara. Immediate cause of samsara is the fist fight. Why did you fist fight? You don't usually fist fight. Why did you fist fight? Why did you have the fist fight? Why? Because I was attached to the iPhone X and I was angry towards my competitor. Attachment to the mobile and anger towards your competitor, this is a gross affliction. What made you have anger towards your competitor? Because we were competing for the same mobile. What mobile? You also have a mobile. No, this is an iPhone X. Brand iPhone X. This is a false categorization of the object. It's not at all iPhone X. What is this mobile? Is this?
This is Samsung.
Oh, Samsung. This is not at all iPhone X, right? This false. You just exaggerate the quality of this mobile. Exaggerate the attribute, the attribute of the mobile. What made you exaggerate this mobile? Right? This is not, in the first place, this is not a mobile, it's a dream mobile. Right? So you misconceive the object first. You misconceive the dream mobile as a real mobile. Number one, this is the first ignorance. Then from that, then the chain of problems started. First the ignorance, seeing the dream mobile is real. This is the cause of all the later problems. Then, not only you see it as a mobile, you see it as an iPhone X. First you misconceive the object. Then you misconceive the attribute of the object, characteristic of the object. Then, wow, it's amazing, very expensive mobile, brand new mobile. I like to have it. Attachment to the mobile, this is gross affliction. Along with this, then the anger arises. How come that he's competing with me? Anger. Gross afflictions, these two, attachment, aversion, gross affliction. With the gross affliction, then you end up in fighting, fist fight. This is the contaminated karma. With the contaminated karma, you end up in prison, which is samsara. This is how all our problems arise. All our problems, tell me, all our problems which we dislike, all the problems somehow, say, even though conventionally speaking, no, it is not my mistake, somebody abused me, somebody did this, did that, it's purely the other person's mistakes, fine. In the conventional world, it may be identified as somebody else's mistake, but are you going through mental agitation or not? If you're going through mental agitation, that is samsara. Still, it is not, the final samsara is not explained. That is a part of samsara, mental agitation. That mental agitation, like the thunderclap, that agitation arises because of two factors. Other person abusing you, other person doing nasty things against you, and your internal factor. Internal factor. What internal factor? Number one, attachment to the self, aversion to the other person. This is affliction. Gross affliction. Why this gross affliction? Because of exaggeration of the qualities, bad quality of the other person and good quality of yourself. Exaggeration of the bad quality of the other person and the exaggeration of the good quality of yourself. What made you exaggerate the qualities in the first place? We misconceive the reality of the self. While the self is like a dream, we see it as real. While the others are dreamlike, we see it as real. Okay, this is how all problems arise. Tell me, if you don't want to have the experience of suffering, what should you do? What should we do? We should get rid of the cause of suffering. What is the immediate cause of the suffering? Anybody?
Ignorance.
Contaminated comes. Very good. Thank you. Right? Don't jump to the Gate Bodhi Swaha. Did you recite the mantra? Gate Gate Para Gate Para Samgate Bodhi. The mantra is not Gate Bodhi Swaha. What's the mantra? There are many steps. Gate Gate. Okay, there are many steps. Likewise, first we have to go, what's the immediate cause of suffering? Is the contaminant karmas. What is the immediate cause of the contaminant karmas? Gross afflictions. What's the immediate cause of gross afflictions? Inappropriate attention. What is inappropriate attention? Listen well. What did I say? Huh?
What is inappropriate attention?
Huh?
I don't know.
No, what did I say?
What is inappropriate attention?
And what answer did you give? Self-grasping ignorance is the answer given. Huh? Okay, so let's listen carefully. What question I asked? I did not ask what is the immediate cause of the inappropriate attention. This is not my question. My question was, what does it mean by inappropriate attention? So inappropriate attention is ignorance which misconceives or which gives a false characteristic to an object. Ignorance which gives a false characteristic to the object. So ignorance, there are two kinds. One, for example, let's say that the mobile, this is Samsung. Okay, anyway, I have nothing to do with the what. Again, people may say, okay, he's against Samsung mobile. Not at all. Okay, say this is just some dream mobile. I see this as a iPhone X, perhaps the most expensive mobile today, iPhone X, right? So there are two kinds of ignorance. One, the first ignorance which misconceives the object. Second ignorance which misconceives the characteristic of the object. You're getting it? For example, if I say that, okay, so let's say, if I say this book exists or not exists? Hey, this book exists or not exists? This notebook, does it exist or not?
Conventionally it exists.
No, I did not ask whether it exists conventionally. I asked just whether it exists. Don't be afraid. Oh, he's a logician. He may again debate with us, and we'll be trapped in problem. So I have to give the politically correct answer right from the beginning.
Yes, it does exist.
Don't be afraid. Okay, does it exist? Just say yes. What's the problem? Okay, this book, does it exist? Yes. There's no problem there. And this book, at the most, it may cost you like €2. At the most, it may cost you €2. Or €2 worth book exists. The book exists. And then you say that, oh, this book is the €1,000 price, cost. It costs €1,000. This is exaggeration, not of the book. Book you do not exaggerate. You exaggerate the quality of the book, cost of the book. You exaggerate it to be 1,000 euros, which is exaggerated. You are not the exaggerated object. Object is the book, but the price is what you are exaggerating. You are exaggerating the quality of the quality. You are exaggerating the characteristic. You are exaggerating the attribute. So there are two things: object, which is characterized, and the characteristic. When you say the book exists, you are not exaggerating the characterized. You are not exaggerating the characterized. But when you say this book is 1,000 euros, which means that you are exaggerating the characteristic. So this book is a characteristic or the characterized? Hey, characteristic or the characterized? This is characterized. And what is characteristic? For example, say, I am the possessor of this book. What's the possessed This book is the possessed. Possessed meaning what I owned, the one which I possess. This is the book. The book is the possessed, and I'm the possessor. Likewise, the book is the characterized, and the, say, 2 euros worth is the characteristic. You're getting it? So, we see the ignorance. One, we say that this is a chocolate. This is ignorance misconceiving the object. Then, this chocolate is Swiss chocolate. This is the exaggerating the quality. Exaggerating to the object, characterized, and exaggerating the characteristic. You getting it?
Yes.
Okay. With this, what we learn is the immediate cause of the gross afflictions is inappropriate attention. What do you mean by inappropriate attention? Inappropriate attention is the ignorance which exaggerates the characteristic of the object. And what is the immediate cause of the inappropriate attention? What is the immediate cause of the inappropriate attention? Elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. Very good. What does it mean by elaboration of self-grasping ignorance? The ignorance which misconceives the object. Still, it is not clearly defined. Don't worry. What is self-grasping ignorance? It is the ignorance which misconceives the object, which misconceives the characterized, not the characteristic, which misconceives the characterized. Okay. So with this, okay, so with this, if you don't want suffering, if you don't want samsara, what should you do? You should get rid of the contaminant karmas. If you don't want contaminant karmas, what should you do?
Meditate.
Huh?
Meditate to clean your karma in your mind.
If you don't want the contaminant karmas, what should you do? Get rid of the gross afflictions. Very good. If you don't want the gross afflictions, what should you do? Get rid of the inappropriate attention. If you don't want to do the inappropriate attention, what should you do? Get rid of self-grasping ignorance. Okay, this is how we know that it's not just, okay, if you don't want suffering, then just practice meditation. What meditation to practice? This is the question. So if you know this very precisely, then you gain conviction. That's very true. So to get rid of samsara, contaminant karmas give rise to samsara. So we should get rid of contaminant karmas. To get rid of these contaminant karmas are the actions coming from the physical, verbal and mental. These actions are driven by the thought processes. These thought processes which drive, for example, let's say, what am I doing? What am I doing? Okay. No, I just lifted the glass. I did not drink it yet. Right? I just lifted this up. What made you lift this up? What made me to lift this up? Tell me.
Intention.
Huh? Intention. There's a thought process in me which says that, okay, lift up this glass. You are thirsty. Drink some water. Lift this. For that matter, the water will not ultimately come to you. You have to lift it up. You're getting it? So the intention, thought process is there. From physically what I'm doing, from there you could infer that there's a thought process going in his mind to lift the glass. So this thought process, when it is constructive, we call it virtues. When it's destructive, we call it afflictions. You're getting it? This thought process which drives the destructive actions are known as afflictions, which drives positive actions are known as virtues. Okay. Now, what made this thought process wanting to have this water? If it is negative, wanting to have this water, then because you see the water as objectively very nice. What made you see me as so objectively nice? To see that the water is objectively real. Objectively real water, this water is objectively nice, so I like to have it, and then the hands move there. Okay, this is a process. So with this, now my next question to you: if you don't want suffering, Finally, what should you do? If you don't want suffering, finally, what should you do? Huh?
Well, I would say eliminate the self-grasping.
Very good.
That's the beginning.
Okay, so the point is that when I say something, it has something to do with what you already learned, right? Unless until if I ask you some question, and if it's an open question, then I will say that you just speak your mind. When I say speak your mind, then it's your freedom. You can say anything, right? When I already say a great length, 2 hours or 3 hours, 4 hours to talk, and then I ask you a question, I'm actually asking you to see how you're able to comprehend what I said. So finally meaning contaminant karmas, gross afflictions, inappropriate attention. Then what is the final cause? Final cause, what is the final root? Self-grasping ignorance. So what Emily said, Emily, right?
Can be Emily. That's all right. It's Emilia, but you can call
No.
me Emily.
What is your name?
Emilia.
Emilia. What Emilia said, right? What Emilia said is the self-grasping ignorance. For example, say if there's a poisonous tree growing, and these leaves are poisonous leaves, and the wind blowing through the wind blowing through this poisonous leaves, skin rashes happen to your body. Skin rashes happen. These skin rashes happen because of these leaves. What will you do? Some people will remove the leaves one by one. Remove the leaves. And then in 1 or 2 weeks again new leaves will grow. And some people will chop it from the top. Okay, for the 1 or 2 months you are free. And after 4 months again the more branches will grow. What will you do? If you don't want the skin rash, what do you do? Uproot. Look for the root and remove it. If you look for the root and remove it, you don't have to remove even a single leaf. All this, however, millions of poisonous leaves they are growing there, they will all dry automatically. You agree with me? Likewise, if you're able to uproot the self-grasping ignorance, finally, if you uproot the self-grasping ignorance, all the other problems, inappropriate attention, gross afflictions, the contaminant karmas, problems, samsara miseries, they will all automatically disappear. You understand it? Good. So with this, the point is, okay, finally, if I really want to help all the sentient beings, then I have to teach them how to get rid of the self-grasping ignorance. I have to teach them how to get rid of the self-grasping ignorance. So the Prince Siddhartha, driven by great compassion, altruism, he went in search of the solution. What solution he found? The wisdom to counteract this self-grasping ignorance. He found that wisdom. So this wisdom is like the medicine. He found it. That is what he is supposed to teach to all beings. Before he teaches that, he must have to experiment it on himself. This is what we did this morning, right? This morning or last year. He should experiment this to see that whether this Vishma is working or not, this antibiotic. He has to first experiment with himself. We discussed this. Last year? Oh, this morning, right? Okay, your face is so like you said last year.
Just before the break.
Huh? Because of the break. Okay.
You mentioned that.
Because of the break, we forgot it. Okay, so there should be no break. Okay, so this Prince Siddhartha, he experimented this on himself to see if it works. What did he experiment? He experimented this wisdom of emptiness, this wisdom. So with this wisdom, as the wisdom increases, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi, swaha, what happens is that the self-grasping ignorance, wisdom, it increases higher and higher, self-grasping ignorance goes down. And the wisdom of emptiness reaches the highest level, self-grasping ignorance becomes zero. Self-grasping ignorance is like the iceberg on which like 1,000 years, 2,000 years ago, or 2,000 years ago in the Arctic Circle, Arctic Circle with the iceberg, you can build houses on this. You can build houses. And because of the global warming, when the icebergs start to melt, all the houses that you built on this automatically will crumble. Do you agree with me or not? So because of the wisdom of emptiness, self-grasping ignorance melts in him. Self-grasping ignorance melts, then what happens? What is tagged to the self-grasping ignorance?
Wisdom.
What is tagged to the self-grasping ignorance? 5 points. Hey. Huh? Inappropriate attention, right? Self-grasping ignorance melts, iceberg melts, then the house built on the iceberg shakes. Inappropriate attention shakes. When the inappropriate attention shakes, what shakes? What's on that inappropriate attention? Gross afflictions shake. When the gross afflictions shake, what shakes? Contaminant karmas shake. When the contaminant karmas shake, what happens? Samsara shakes, samsara dissolves. Right? So samsara is what? Okay, in a loose sense, samsara is mental disturbance. Mental disturbance stops. Right? Mental disturbance stops. What's the opposite of mental disturbance? What's the opposite of disturbance?
Peace.
Stability.
Peace.
Calmness, peace, stability. Yes, all are correct. So what we experience is we experience an incredible tranquility, calmness and peace and stability. You're getting it? There's absolute peace, absolute tranquility, absolute calmness is what we experience. This is known as Sugata. So we read, motivated by altruism to benefit all sentient beings. Then what is next?
Teacher.
Teacher, thank you. Okay, so I'm sorry to make you work so hard, right? It's not just the unilateral talk. Right? You also have to work. Yes, where is it taking us now? Okay, say. Okay, so driven by the force of compassion, he went in search of the solution. Finally, he found the solution. What solution is that? Solution, the wisdom of emptiness that should make him a teacher to teach this wisdom of emptiness. So for that, to see whether it's a real solution, he experimented on himself. Then what happens? Self-grasping ignorance dissolves. Because of this wisdom of emptiness, experimenting on himself, self-grasping dissolves. Then what dissolves? Hey, after self-grasping, what dissolves? It's all like your mind is in coma. Yes, inappropriate attention dissolves, then gross affliction dissolves, then contaminant karmas dissolve, then suffering dissolve, all the mental agitations dissolve, all the fears dissolve, all mental disturbance dissolve. When the mental disturbance dissolve, what do you experience? You experience the perfect peace, perfect calmness, perfect stability, perfect tranquility. This is what I experience. Perfect tranquility. So, perfect tranquility, what is the experience like? A total bliss of the tranquility. Total bliss of the tranquility. This is the meaning of the Sugata. You become a Sugata. Sugata meaning the one who has gone to the perfect bliss of purity. You experience that. So with this what happens? Now you become so confident. Okay, this is what happened to me. If I teach the same thing, if the beings also do the same thing, they will also feel the Sugata. They will also be freed of the fears, all the fears. So he went to protect the beings by giving this teaching. Protector. You're getting it? Okay. So if you meet somebody, okay, how many of you are looking for in the total fearlessness of life? Raise your hands. How many are you looking for total fearlessness of life? Very good. Okay. If you're really looking for the total fearlessness, you want a guide or without a guide you can do it? You want a guide or without a guide? With a guide. With a guide. With a guide, say somebody who has actually been through this, motivated by great compassion. Then the teacher, Sugata, protector, somebody who went through all these processes with total experience. One, and another person who you're not sure, right? One who you are very sure that the person, he or she has been through all these processes and very experienced. And another person who's so famous, but you're not sure how the person, actually what the person's experienced. Which of the two guides you will seek the help?
Oh, the first one.
The first one. You're getting it? This is how Prince Siddhartha went through. Prince Siddhartha, Buddha Shakyamuni, he went through this process. He's the guide. Okay. With this, the next is, okay, this guide, finally, he is to guide us to the state of fearlessness. To guide, in what way he will guide? He will not physically take us to a land of fearlessness. There's no land known as a fearlessness, right? So he guides us through teaching the wisdom. So this teaching becomes so precious. We talk about Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. I go for refuge in the Buddha. Dharmam Sharanam Gacchami. I go for refuge in the teachings of the Buddha. Sangam Sharanam Gacchami. I go for refuge in the assistance of the Sangha who follow this path. 3. So these two are referred to as the 3 jewels. And of the 3, it's not that the Buddha is most important. The most important is the teachings. Teaching is the most important thing. Finally, even if you have innumerable Buddhas are there. But if you don't take the medicine, teaching is like the medicines. If you don't take the medicines, even if you are surrounded by the best of doctors in the world, your illness will not go away. At the most, the doctors can prescribe the best medicine. And finally, you have to take the medicines yourself. So the medicine, the dharma is like the medicine. So real refuge, real protection is the dharma. Right? Okay. So with this, what kind of dharma he gave? This next question. What kind of dharma he gave? What kind of teachings that he gave? What kind of teachings to give us the wisdom? What kind of teachings he gave? This question. So for that, what happened? This is what we need to know. For that, what happens was that the Prince Siddhartha, under the Bodhi tree, after 6 years under the Bodhi tree, then he became enlightened. He experienced the Sugadhahood. He became enlightened. Motivated by great compassion, motivated altruism, then he went in search of the path. Finally he got it, that is wisdom of emptiness, which he was to teach, thereby becoming him as a teacher. He experimented at himself, and then he experienced
Nirvana.
He experienced Sugadha. He became the Sugadha. I'm talking about the 4. You're getting it? When I say something and asking, waiting something, which means that I'm expecting something which you have already learned before. You're getting it? So first he was driven by the altruism. Then he went in search of the solution. What solution was that? The wisdom of emptiness, which he was to teach. So therefore, in a way, to become a teacher, he went in search of a path to become a teacher. And then this wisdom which he is to teach, he experimented himself, then he experienced Sugadhahood. And experiencing Sugadhahood, experiencing the great bliss of the elimination of all the mental disturbance, they give him a tremendous, absolute confidence that makes him to go to protect the beings by teaching this. To go to protect the beings. That made him the protector. You getting it? Okay. So, as a protector, he went to protect the beings by giving teachings. So what kind of teachings that he gave? This is the next question. So important. So, this Prince Siddhartha, under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, I hope most of you have been to Bodh Gaya. How many of you have been to Bodh Gaya? Raise hands. Okay, many of you. So under the Bodhi tree, he became the full awakened one. After becoming enlightened, he was to actually share this wisdom with all the beings, but he did not share the wisdom. He remained silent for 49 days. He remained silent for 49 days. Then the kings of the celestial beings, the kings of the gods and goddesses, through the clairvoyance, they were a little confused. Prince Siddhartha, he became already he became enlightened. He became a Buddha. And he is supposed to be giving teachings, but why not? Why he is not giving teachings? So they were a little confused. They then descended. They made prostrations to where the Buddha was sitting, and then requested, please don't remain silent. Please turn the wheel of Dharma. Turn the wheel of Dharma means give teachings. Please start giving teachings. Then the Buddha said one stanza. This is what he said. In English, the path that I've discovered is so profound, is so peaceful, is elaboration free, is clear-light, is a non-composite. Such a nectar-like reality and the path I've discovered is so profound that hardly I find anybody who can fathom the depth of this teaching. So I would rather return to the words in silence, is what he said. Then the kings of the god and goddesses, two of them, Brahma and Indra, they made more prostration. Please don't remain silent. Please turn the wheel of Dharma. Then the Buddha accepted to give the teachings. Then he went. First, he was thinking of repaying the kindness of the true teachers. First, he was thinking of sharing the wisdom with the true teachers. And then he realized that the true teachers, they already passed away. And then he headed towards Varanasi, Sarnath, Varanasi. And then he taught the first teaching to the 5 ascetics, 5 disciples. Okay, so how many, the teachings of the Buddha, they are, generally speaking, they are referred to as the wheel of Dharma. Wheel of Dharma. Dharma meaning teaching. Wheel of Dharma, turning the wheel of Dharma. Okay, so how many such turnings of wheel of Dharma are there? There are primarily 3. 3 turnings of wheel of Dharma. First turning, second turning, third turning. And these 3 turnings of wheel of Dharma, we have to know what these 3 are. We have to know the place, the subject matter of the teaching, and the target audience. Okay, to know the 3 wheels of Dharma, what do we know? We need to know 3 things. What are 3 things? The place, subject matter, target audience. Target audience, 3. Okay. Target audience. Who are the audience of these 3 different teachings? Who are the audience? For that, we need to know 4 Buddhist philosophical schools, 4 Buddhist schools of philosophy. 4 Buddhist schools of philosophy. I'm sure many of you already know that, and those of you who are new, don't worry. I will mention what these 4 are, and these 4 will come, very often in the discourses on Buddhist teachings. So it's not going to be that complicated. Initially, when you hear this, these are technical terms. I don't know Sanskrit. This kind of, it may feel you little, make you a little demoralized. But be patient. Trust me. Try to learn these, if possible, note them down, try to learn them. Once you learn them, this will come so often, it's not at all difficult, it's so easy. Okay, and how many of you know Tashi Delek? Tashi Delek is very easy, right? Initially it's very complicated. Now it's very easy. Alright, so these 4 schools are easier than Tashi Delek. So therefore, don't feel demoralized. Okay, 4 schools. 4 schools, I'll give them in the order of what is very gross to the very subtle. The first one is Vaibhashika school. Vaibhashika. V-A-I-Y-B-H-A V-A-I-Y-B-H-A Vaibha S-H-I-K-A Vaibhashika. V-A-I-B-H-A-S-H-I-K-A Vaibhashika. First school. Second school, Sautantrika. S-A-U S-A-U-T-A-N-T-R-I-K-A. Again, S-A-U-T-A-N-T-R-I-K, Sautantrika. Okay. Next, mind only school. Mind only, that's easy. Mind only school. Mind only school. Mind only school, if you want to know the Sanskrit word, it is Chit. Chitta Matra. C-H-I-T-T-A-M-A-T-R-A. Chitta Matra. Yes, Thomas?
And Yogacara.
Okay.
It says Yogacara.
Okay, Chitta Matra. You getting it? Let us not confuse. Okay. Chitta Matra, and then Madhyamika. Finally, Madhyamika. M-A-D-H-Y. M-A-D-H-Y-A-K-A-M-I-K-A. Again, M-A-D-H-Y-A-M-I-K-A. Madhyamika. Okay, what are the four schools? Tell me. Number one, Vaibhashika. Number two, Sautantrika. Number three, Chitta Matra. Number four, Madhyamika. Okay, four. And if the need be, later on, I may even split the Madhyamika into two. For the time being, I'll not. If I split it, then the number of the audience will become half tomorrow. Right? Okay, so therefore, I will not complicate it further. There are minimal complications. What Thomas said, even in the Yogacara, there are many further divisions. Right? It's not just Yogacara, there are many more divisions further. I don't want to complicate it. Finally, people should be benefited. Yes.
I think the second one should be Sautrantika.
Okay, very good. Okay, very good.
Sutra Antika.
Yes, that's good. Your name?
Vili.
Huh?
Vili.
Vili. Vili, thank you. Okay, so Sautantrika. So it's actually coming from the sutra Sautrantika. Okay. Got it? Good. Now, going back to the three wheels. Going back to three wheels. To know the three wheels, so what do we know? What do we need to know? We need to know three things. What are they? The place, subject matter, and the target audience. Okay. So the three turning wheel of Dharma. The first turning wheel of Dharma. The place is Varanasi. The place is Varanasi. Number one. What is next? No. Subject matter. The place is done. Now next is the subject matter. Subject matter is just the Four Noble Truths. Just the Four Noble Truths. Subject matter, so what is the content matter of that is the Four Noble Truths. Then what is next? Target audience. The target audience is the first two schools, Vaibhashika, Sautrantika school. Vaibhashika and Sautrantika school, the two schools. Okay, what's the second turning wheel of Dharma? The place? Second turning wheel of Dharma, the place? Rashgir. And what is the target audience? Target audience is Madhyamika school, the fourth one, number 4. Target audience of the second turning wheel of Dharma, the place is Rashgir, and the target audience is the fourth school, not the third one. The first and the second schools, these are target audience of the first turning wheel of Dharma. Then the fourth, the second turning wheel of Dharma, the target audience is the fourth school, which is Madhyamika. Okay, let me say this again. The first turning wheel of Dharma, the place is Varanasi, and that the target audience is Vaibhashika and Sautrantika, And then the subject matter is Four Noble Truths. Done. Second turn wheel of Dharma, the place is Rajgir. Then the target audience is the number 4. Number 4 school, Madhyamika school, Madhyamika philosophers or Madhyamika the school. Then the subject matter is the ultimate reality or the emptiness of objective existence or emptiness of true existence. Emptiness of true existence or emptiness of true existence / emptiness of self-characteristics. Emptiness of true existence / emptiness of self-characteristics. Okay, number 3. So what happened was that, okay, to know number 3, you have to know the first 2 well. The first turn noble of Dharma. What's the subject matter of the first turn noble of Dharma? Four Noble Truths. So when the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths in Varanasi, when the Buddha taught this, and it was taught in a very simple way. Very simple way. The way say for example, if you have to climb, if you want to go to the rooftop, then they're like, you cannot jump directly. So for that you need the steps. So the first step and the floor, the ground and the first step, these are very close. So the ground is like the ordinary people. And the first school, Vaibhashika school, this says, the philosophy is very close to the ordinary people's understanding. It's like the first step. Then next is the Sautrantika school, little more complicated. Then Chittamatra school or the Manju school, which is more complicated. And finally the Madhyamika, which is the most complicated. And within Madhyamika there are more divisions. Okay, let's not do that for the time being. So what happened was the first turning wheel of Dharma, Buddha taught the very simple Four Noble Truths. What do you mean by symbol? Four Noble Truths is not symbol. But what do you mean by symbol Four Noble Truths? Means the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths in such a way that the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha taught as though like the Four Noble Truths exist truly. The Four Noble Truths exist truly. Truly exist in Four Noble Truths. Second turning wheel of Dharma, where was this? The place? Rajgir. So there in Rajgir the Buddha said, nothing exists truly. Second turning wheel of Dharma, Buddha said, nothing exists truly. First turning wheel of Dharma, the Buddha said, Four Noble Truths exist truly. Second turning wheel of Dharma, Buddha said, nothing exists truly. Right? Okay, so the first 2 schools, in the first turning when the Buddha said, the Four Noble Truths exist truly, and what are the Four Noble Truths? To the suffering, to the what? Cause of suffering, to the cessation of suffering's causes, to the path leading to cessation. Okay, explain this. And the first 2 schools, they heard this and they were very happy, they left. Then the second turning wheel of Dharma, who's left now? The two schools, the remaining 2 schools are left. Second turning wheel of Dharma, Buddha said, nothing exists truly. Right? And the 4th school, Madhyamika school, they are very happy, they left. Now who is left? Chittamatra. So Chittamatra, they were confused. First turning wheel of Dharma, the Buddha said that the Four Noble Truths exist truly. The second turning wheel of Dharma, Buddha said nothing exists truly. Now we are confused. Right? Okay. So, third turning wheel of Dharma, the place is Vaishali. In Vaishali, then the Buddha taught. Then the Vaishali, okay, third turning wheel of Dharma, this is interesting. Third turning wheel of Dharma, what happened was that the Buddha presided over the congregation, and then, say, of course, the very, very highly enlightened, very evolved bodhisattvas, very high level bodhisattvas were there, like Aramanjushri, Aravalokiteshvara, then the Aramatriya, and then the Bodhisattva Paramat Samudgata. All these great bodhisattvas are there. Then the audience, a huge audience. Then 10 bodhisattvas, one by one, they asked 10 different questions to the Buddha. 10 bodhisattvas, all in the 10 bhumi, which means that they are on the verge to become Buddhas. They asked 10 different questions to the Buddha, and the Buddha responded all these answers to the questions. And one question asked by the bodhisattva, the Samudgata, this bodhisattva, he asked a question. Okay, other bodhisattvas, they ask questions about the Buddha nature, which we discussed this morning. Many of these issues are being brought by the other bodhisattvas. Then Bodhisattva Paramat Samudgata, he asked a question related to the first turning wheel of Dharma and the second turning wheel of Dharma. He said that he stood up, made prostrations to Buddha, and then said, during the first turning wheel of Dharma, the full awakened one, the Tathagata, taught that the Four Noble Truths exist truly. And the second turning wheel of Dharma, the Tathagata said that nothing exists truly. So of course, the Tathagata, being the fully enlightened one, is not confused. So therefore, there must be a reason why the Tathagata said that everything exists truly, the Four Noble Truths exist truly, that nothing exists truly in the second turning. What could be the reason? Please explain this. This question raised. And in fact, this Bodhisattva, he asked this question not for himself, he already realized emptiness, right? But he asked this question on behalf of the Chittamatra flock, the practitioners. On their behalf, he asked this question. Then the Buddha responded. The response that the Buddha gave to this, precisely to the question asked by Bodhisattva Paramat Gata, this answer came to be known as the third turning wheel of Dharma in the context of the first turning and the second turning, in relation to the first turning and the second turning. So he gave the explanation. That explanation came to be the philosophy of Chittamatra school. Okay, so on the places, the third turning wheel of Dharma, the places Vaishali, and the target audience is Chittamatra philosophers, and the subject matter, it is known as distinguishing the natures, distinguishing the characteristics, or distinguishing the natures. Okay, I'm not going to go into detail with this, otherwise, this would be quite interesting, but if need be, somebody can ask me later on, after we cover a little bit of the emptiness concept, then when this is, if you bring this up, this will be very sensible for us. Okay, so this is these are the three turnings wheel of Dharma. Now, if you go a little deeper, okay, let's say that I'm happy. What I seek is, I seek infinite happiness, and I seek fearlessness. The fearlessness and the infinite happiness. This is a resultant state of my own mind, resultant state. And this resultant state should necessarily arise, but depends on the causes. And the causes are also mental. They're also mental. External factors are there. But finally, it is through eliminating the internal factors that we can expect to have the results, the fearlessness and the infinite happiness. So for that, then the question is, okay, these teachings are given, yes, for the purpose of the beings, the sentient beings, achieving the state of fearlessness and infinite happiness. Very good. For that purpose. Now, what is that state like? Fearlessness and the infinite happiness. Right? So, fearlessness, opposite of fearlessness is the fear. What's the fear? The fear on the one hand, and the lack of freedom. These two are synonymous. The fear on the one hand, and the lack of freedom. These two are synonymous. You're getting it? For example, okay, there may be mosquitoes. Am I afraid or not? Yes. I'm afraid. There's a fear there. There may be mosquitoes there. Which means that I don't have the freedom. I don't have the freedom not to be scared of the mosquitoes. So lack of freedom and fear, these two are synonymous. Okay, can you give me any example of fear? Any example? Some could be very severe fear, some can be very simple, very, insignificant fear. It doesn't matter. Anybody? Yes?
Fear of the dark.
The fear of?
Darkness.
Okay, fear of darkness. And some people have the claustrophobia. And some people have the phobia of darkness, right? The fear of darkness. So, in some people, the moment it becomes dark, for example, the thieves, the moment it becomes dark, they are very happy, right? Wow, now we can operate, right? Some people, when it becomes dark, they feel the freedom. And some people, when it becomes, then the fear comes. Okay, we don't have the freedom to feel the joy in darkness. This is a fear. Any other fear?
Snakes.
The fear of heights, the fear of snakes. We don't have the freedom. We don't have the freedom to feel compassion towards the snakes. When you see the snakes, right? Oh no, how I wish that this snake sees emptiness so that his contaminant karmas to take birth as animal will be eradicated so that he will be liberated. How I wish that he sees emptiness. Instead of that, you freeze. You freeze. You don't have the freedom to feel compassion. Right? The fear of the snake. Fear of height. With height you can take selfie. Right? You go on a very high altitude, you can take selfie. When you have the fear, you don't have the freedom to take selfie there. You're getting it? Again, fear is a lack of freedom. Let us not forget this. This is so important conclusion. Fear, lack of freedom, these two are synonymous. So therefore, nirvana is described as liberation, freedom. You're getting it? Nirvana is described as liberation. This is a word oftentimes referred to as nirvana, liberation, freedom. Okay. So with this, the point is the total fearlessness. What is experience like, right? For example, let's say that. Okay, how many of you like cheesecake? Be very honest and raise hands. How many of you hate cheesecakes? You hate cheesecake? Hate or don't like? No, I ask hate. No, you don't hate, right? Yeah, I can see from your face, I can see that you don't hate anybody. Yeah. Okay, you don't like just, there's no liking. If somebody gives, it's fine. If even without, it's also fine. It's not really hate. Okay, now let's say that if you are somebody who is so extremely crazy after cheesecake, right? And you did not see cheesecake for the last 6 months, and on your birthday your mother brings a cheesecake, what happens? Your eyeballs become so wide, the whole adrenal, oxytocin, hormones, all this start flowing, right? So excited. Okay, so with this excitation, and then say somebody says, how are you? Or how are you? I'm very happy, right? And then, can I borrow your mug? Yes, take it away. All right. Can I borrow the 1,000 euros? Yes, take it away. Right. Okay. Whereas the same then somebody says, no, the cake seller comes. Oh, this cheesecake is not for you. I'm very sorry. Your mother actually purchased a plain cake, right? This is not what your mother actually bought. I'm sorry. To go away, plain cake is given to you, then your whole mood goes down. And if somebody says that, oh, can I borrow 2 euros? Not happy. When you're very happy, even 10, 100 euros is very easily. Okay, so what I'm saying is a basic state of mind. This is so important, basic state of mind. Number 2 is, one is a basic state of mind. Okay.
We should,
Okay.
Because we still have the old schedule today, so...
I'm just wondering
Yeah.
if there is a table clock here.
Oh, yes, yes, we can get that.
Table clock. Make it very easy.
Yes, yes, sorry, Geshe.
Okay, it's not your mistake. Okay, in Tibet house, we designed the what? We initially made the website, and the secretary is also very good in the designing website or computer, very good. Then I asked the secretary, okay, so this is still something is wrong with this website. So I want to see, for example, like the recent programs. Where's the recent? It's not there. She said, yes, it's there. You have to press this, you have to then press this, you have to go to 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 this. I said that if I, the director of Tibet House, does not know, don't expect the people of the world to know to go this, go that, go this, go that, go this, and then finally you find what you're looking for. Don't expect that. Make it user-friendly. Likewise, the table clock. The clock is there.
No, we can.
If there's a table clock, go for a table clock.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Tiyatha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhi Swaha Tiyatha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhi Swaha Tiyatha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhi Swaha. Okay, let us do the quick direction prayer. Which page is it? And direction prayer. Maybe 275 or 279 or 278. 288. 288. Okay, Emilia, you can say the prayers. Here, take this mic. You sit down.
In the land encircled by the snow mountains,
you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful generators say Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and some of the Bhadra too realize things as they are, also dedicate all his merits in this way, that I may follow the perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that is not arise and grow, and may that which is arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into the enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered to the realization
of the deeds and the praise of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May I, in all all our lives through the force of this merit, never separated from the four wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect view, and the two stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate a mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and auspiciousness proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path of the union of emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the protector of both, the Dharma and the beings of the Land of Snows. You are the lotus holder, cleansing your soul. We supplicate you that your wishes are answered spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds, of the negative forces of humans and non-humans, who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas, be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. In all our lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages of the paths. May I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Higher and Geshe, and be able to uphold the Dharma in general, and the teachings of independent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life.
Okay, some of you may be wondering as to why we are doing this recitation at the end and the recitation at the beginning. Is for the reason that how effective what we are doing, the virtues that we are doing, how effective that is going to be like, is going to be determined by what you do in the beginning, what you do in the end. So the great Tibetan masters, what they say is that for any virtues, two deeds are so important. One in the beginning, that is setting proper motivation, and one at the end, dedicating the virtues with the property. So setting proper motivation, in what way it helps, is that to make sure that the steering, it drives all the virtues that we're going to accumulate over the day, that's going to be driven towards a correct direction, not in a proper track, not off the track. So with the motivation, that will drive you, put you into the proper track. And then the dedication, why it is important, is that the virtues that you do, it can be easily destroyed. With the dedication, that for example, even if you have just a glass of water, and if there's a bigger lake, water reservoir for the whole, or let's say the whole ocean there, and then you add this water to the ocean, till the ocean remains, water will remain. So in other words, the virtues that you do, they will not be destroyed if you are able to dedicate it properly. So there's a reason. Always, particularly, but still, what I would suggest is that if you have any such qualms or questions, don't take them blindly. See rationally how that can be explained. Only if you are very convinced rationally, and if you like to do it, then do it. Whereas if you are not really rationally convinced, then not necessary to do things, because oftentimes there are some gestures which are purely blind faith and purely ritualistic. So therefore, it is advised that it is not necessary. For example, say you attend His Holiness Dharma's teachings, and you start liking the teachings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And because of that, you start to, okay, there's a Tibetan teaching happening there, Tibetan Buddhism teaching happening there, you go there and there are so many rituals happening there, and you simply don't like it. Okay, now I'm confused what to do. Don't worry. So, what you feel, Buddha's teachings are very rational and extremely practical. If you see that it is anything which you see as related to Tibetan Buddhism, particularly Tibetan Buddhism, and if you find that it's not really, I don't really be interested in it because it doesn't really make sense, then the first thing before you do, you don't have to do blindly. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Don't do them. Instead, but don't reject it either. Don't reject it easily. Don't accept things very easily. If you don't find it suitable, or if you don't find it really sensible, you ask questions to the people who are more receptive to respond to your questions, who are more sympathetic to respond to your questions. And if you realize that finally it has no really mean, just discard it, no need to do. There are things which are pure ritualistic, which doesn't really have meanings, which are later developments. They are there, which are not necessarily the real teachings of the Buddha. So what you feel confident and you're happy about, that you do. Okay, so and in a process like the next 6 days, if you have such questions, and particularly we leave some time for question answers, just bring these questions up. I'll be very happy. Within my ability, I'll try to get my answers. Okay, good. Yeah.